Alright, so we are getting ready to do the brakes on a... shit, let me restart. What year is this? Alright, we have a 2010 Ford Flex SCL. We are going to be doing rear brakes, rotors, front brakes and rotors, and front struts. 19mm seems to take off the lug nuts. Alright, these two little bolts, that's all you have to do to pop this guy off. One was in there like that, and the other one just down at the bottom. In order to pop this caliper off, you don't even have to mess with any of that. It's kind of a badass little design, but it's a 1/2 inch, just so you know. Next thing we got to do is we got to take off this little bracket. A 15mm seems to work just fine. There's one little bolt there, and there's one little bolt there. Alright, the next thing you're going to need is you need to take off this little guy, little T-bit, and he is a 40, T40. He is also a 6-point, not a 5-point. Here we are. Here is the new rotor. Here's the old rotor. This one's pretty much trash. One, because parts stores rarely want to turn rotors anymore. This one has a lip on it, for example, so it's probably under spec. And one more thing I did want to point out is this guy has a rubber boot, and customer, which is standing right next to me, showed it to him. The rubber boot keeps out contaminants and stuff, contaminants like dust, dirt, and whatever. And sand can get in there, and it'll actually score the walls, and then once it scores it, then it like basically your brake fluid drips out. But he's like, dude, I got some time, right? And I'm like, sure, yeah. So one thing too that you want to check is your wheel bearings. Crunchies. A lot of times they'll sound like howling or something like that when you're driving down the road. This car has 215,000 miles on it. Ford Flex. Wow, guys. Pretty good for a Ford. I can't tell if this is original or not, but what I can tell you is these wheel bearings are in pristine condition. You just, little heads up, if I was you, I would just give these a little spin when you're doing this. So these little guys, this is your hardware. They just pops right out. Take a little note and make sure that you get these put back in. And you do want to grease these up. That's what brake grease is for. That way it can slide back and forth without leaving residual pressure from being in a bind on this. That's what it's for. So it's real easy. You just push this little tab on first. It's kind of like a little spring, and it holds in place. You don't grease the under part of it. You grease on top of it where the moving part, the moving new brakes are going to ride on. That's how it's supposed to look.
Put some lube on this too. This goes in and out of a little hole, like that one. Yeah, helps it move.
So yeah, pretty much fabricated this one. Just kind of ground it down to where it'll fit in the chuck in my cordless drill gun. And me turning it a lot easier. I'm just lazy like that, but definitely makes it easier to where you can push, and it'll tighten down. The stupid caliper doesn't want to seem to go in if you don't put any pressure on it while you're screwing this down simultaneously. So